Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It is Atia here at Booking It with Atia, and today we are going to do my August TBR possibility pile, whatever we want to call it. I stopped doing TBR videos and also just making TBRs for myself because I never followed them. I'm realizing that I'm very much a mood reader, but there are definitely some books this month that I know I'm going to get to, really want to get to, and need to get to, and we're just going to jump right in. I'm not going to be super strict with myself with this TBR because that creates unnecessary reading slumps. So the first batch of books we're going to talk about today are actually books that I started in July, got very far into, but just wasn't able to finish within the month of July. Most recent book I started in July and got about 30 pages in is The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. This is actually my first N.K. Jemisin book. I've been terrified of starting her works for so long because I hear she has very complex worlds, and honestly,
I didn't want to feel dumb while reading,
so I've just been putting it off, but I've also been collecting her books. Something's gotta give. So I'm starting with The City We Became. I actually read a few stories in How Long Till Black Future Month, which you can probably see behind me. And one of the stories is actually the beginning of this book. And I remember that was my favorite story out of the ones that I read. In this world, cities, major cities, have souls, I guess you can say. And so New York City has 6. And I, again, haven't gotten that far in, but apparently that's not normal. They're usually supposed to have 1 soul. But New York City has 6, and each soul is embodied in a physical human person. And there's some sort of beast monster thing that wants to destroy New York City, and so these people who are the embodiment of New York City souls have to fight off this evil monster. Doesn't that sound just incredible? So I'm only 30 pages in, like I said, but I really enjoyed what I had read so far. It reads so seamlessly, so quickly, and I mean, it's great. Like, some people have called it a love letter to New York City, and I can definitely see why they would say that. Next up, we have Tristan Strong Punches a Hole in the Sky. I mean, if you've been watching my videos the past few months, you know that I'm absolutely in love and obsessed with this book. So I'm rereading it, and I'm about, I want to say like a third of the way through, and I plan on absolutely continuing my reread of this book. Short synopsis, we have Tristan Strong. He's dealing with the grief of the recent death of his best friend. He's dealing with the failure in boxing, and so his parents decide to send him to live on the farm with his grandparents in, I believe, Alabama, I think. And Tristan ends up falling into this mythological world where the West African gods and the Black American gods coexist in this world, and he has to figure out how to fix the hole in the sky that he creates. I love this book so much. There's so much allegory, there's so many metaphors, there's just an infusion of blackness in this book, and it's so great. It's so funny. I just love it. I do. And I think everyone should read it. Next up, we have Song of Blood and Stone by L. Penelope. I'm more than halfway done with this book, and I'm really enjoying it. This is about a world where you have 2 kingdoms, Alcira and Lagrimar. They are at a tentative peace because there's some sort of veil in between these 2 kingdoms called the Mantle, and the Mantle is breaking, essentially. The true father, who is the, I guess you can say, the monarch or the leader of Lagrimar, is trying to come into Alcira through these breaches in the Mantle, which means war. So you have Jasminda, who is a Alciran citizen. Her father was Lagrimar, her mother was Elsirin, and what I really find interesting about this book is it touches on racism. The Lagrimar people are of darker complexion, the Elsirian people are of a lighter complexion, essentially they're white, and so you have Jasminda, who is both. She has parents from both worlds, and she lives in Elsira. Both of her parents and her brothers have passed away. She's living in Elsira, but she's treated differently because of the fact that people can know by looking at her that she's Lagrimari. And in Lagrimar, they are earth singers. They have some sort of magical ability, and the people in Elsira know that Jasminda has this, and they don't trust her because of it. And we have Jack, who's a soldier that Jasminda finds one day, and he's been beaten up, but he thinks that there's a way to fix the mantle so that there is not war between their two kingdoms. It's very interesting. There are a lot of twists and turns, a lot of things I did not expect, but in a good way. I'm very much looking forward to finishing this book and in anticipation of buying and reading the second book, and also buying the third book, which comes out August 11th. Next up, we have a few arcs, advanced reader copies. I have so many arcs that I was approved for in the month of August, and it's great. I'm going to try to get to as many as I can, but there are 4 in particular that I am prioritizing. The first one is Luster, and of course, I'm blanking on the author's name, but I'm actually in the process of reading this. I'm in the first 10%. But Luster is about this 20-something-year-old black woman who gets into a relationship with a married white dude who's in, as he says, an open marriage, and apparently it's just about her navigating the fact that he's older than her, that he's white, and just the messiness of being in her 20s in New York City. It's supposed to be incredibly good, so I'm really looking forward to finishing it. Like I said, I've already started it, and what I'm noticing is that the writing is really intriguing. Another arc that I am planning on prioritizing is Isaiah Dunn is My Hero. This is a middle grade contemporary, which I believe comes out August 18th, and it follows little Isaiah Dunn. His father has just passed away, and he's trying to be the man of the family and keep it all together. His little sister is asking questions that he doesn't have the answers to, and his mother is dealing with the grief of losing her husband and has gone completely silent, and it's about him moving through that, navigating through his grief, and just coming out on the other side. And I'm really looking forward to that. I don't usually gravitate towards middle grade contemporary, but I am making an effort to read more of it, and I think that this is a great place to start. Next up, we have Raybearer. This is one of my most anticipated releases for this year. This is a young adult fantasy. I don't know too much about it simply because I just want to go in. What I do know is that we have our main protagonist. She's been raised by this being, if you will, the mother or something like that, but she's never seen this being, and this being tells her to become a part of the king's guard or the king's council in order to, I believe, assassinate the king. But our main protagonist has other plans, and she's trying to find her own way. The cover is absolutely stunning. I mean, can we just take a moment to appreciate the cover, which will definitely be on the screen somewhere. And I've been waiting for this book since it was announced, and I'm so incredibly excited about the fact that I have an advanced reader copy and that I want to get to super quickly. Next up, we have When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole. Alyssa Cole is one of my favorite romance authors, and thank you so much to her publishing team. Thank you so much to, I believe, William and Morrow, who's an imprint of HarperCollins Publishing, for sending me an advanced reader copy of this book. This is actually not a romance. This is a thriller, and what we have is this takes place in Brooklyn, and we have Sydney Green, who's Brooklyn born and raised, and she's noticing that the businesses in her community are slowly disappearing. This is supposed to touch on gentrification and how that affects communities of color in certain cities, and I'm really looking forward to this. Alyssa Cole is an exceptional writer, and I have absolutely no doubts that that exceptional writing will transfer from romance to thriller. And this book comes out on September 1st. Next up, we have some books that I am definitely gravitating towards, have full intentions of picking up this month. We have Rusha and the Tree of Wishes. I'm actually planning on starting the audiobook of this either tonight or tomorrow. This is the third book in the Pandava Quartet by Roshani Chakshi. This follows Rusha, and I'm not going to tell you what this one is about because spoilers for the second and the first book, but in the first book we have Rusha, and she is known for stretching the truth because she wants to fit in with her very popular, very wealthy classmates, not friends, but classmates at school. And so she tells them that she's been to all these different places and she hasn't. She's confronted by her group of friends at the museum where her mother, I believe, works and curates. It's the Indian Museum or Indian Institute, I think. It's not going to be in this one because this is the third book, but it has a lot of different Indian artifacts, and Rusha ends up freezing time and she has to go after the sleeper, and you find out that she is actually a reincarnation, a modern day female reincarnation of one of the Pandava brothers. I absolutely love this series. It keeps getting better and better. The second book was absolutely phenomenal, and so I am very much looking forward to diving into the third book. Next up, we have A Song of Wraiths and Ruin by Roseanne A. Brown. This is another young adult fantasy novel. So we have two main protagonists, Malik and Karina. Malik's younger sister has been abducted by a spirit, and in order to get her back, he has to kill someone. I believe he has to kill the princess. Yep, kill the crown princess of Ziran in exchange for his little sister's freedom. Now, our crown princess Karina has just lost her mother, who is the queen, and so in order to bring her mother back from the dead, Karina strikes a deal where she has to take the heart, take the heart of the king. So she holds this contest looking for eligible bachelors so that she can pick one, marry the dude so he becomes king, and then kill him. Malik enters that same contest and tries to vie for Karina's attention, and it's essentially them attempting to kill each other, which is great. I believe there's a romance in here. I am super stoked for this. I was already planning on picking this up either in August or September, but then I saw that Ash from Bookish Realm, this is her book club pick for her Patreon, and I'm a Patreon of hers. I will link her channel down below, and I was like, you know what? Let's go. I love reading things with other people, and I am very, very excited to read this book. Next up, we have This Is Major, Notes on Diana Ross, Dark Girls, and Being Dope by Shayla Lawson. This is a collection of essays by Shayla Lawson about being a black girl and stepping into your spotlight. And I read the intro last night. It's super engaging, super funny, and I'm looking forward to reading it. The reason I'm picking this up specifically this month is because I'm buddy reading this with Jamie on Instagram. I will put her information on the screen here, I guess, but also down below so you can go follow her on Instagram. She saw that this was in one of my most recent packages and she says she was interested in reading it too, so we're gonna buddy read it in the month of August, and I'm really excited. I do want to make more of an effort in reading nonfiction, especially nonfiction by black authors, and so that will definitely help me in that goal. Next up, we have two short story collections dealing with Afrofuturism and black fantasy. The first one is Skinfolk by Nalo Hopkinson. I was going to pick this up a few months ago, but I wasn't necessarily in the mood for short stories at the time. I'm really looking forward to this. I've heard great things about this author in particular, and since I already had this in my collection, I figured I would start here. In Skinfolk, with 15 works ranging from science fiction to Caribbean folklore, passionate love to chilling horror, Nalo Hopkinson is at her award-winning best. Hopkinson's descriptions of ordinary people finding themselves in extraordinary circumstances ring true, the result of her strong evocation of place and her ear for dialect. Really looking forward to this. I also have Black from the Future, a collection of black speculative writing, and this features, I don't know how many, it says 22 pieces, so I'm guessing 22 authors are included. This is comprised of only Black women writing speculative fiction, and I'm really, really looking forward to this. Alright, these are the books I am looking forward to reading in August. Almost said July. Reading in August. I think I can do it. I have full faith. Well, 2 of them I'm halfway through. 2 of them I've already started, and 1 of them I'm gonna listen to audiobooks. So like, I have full faith this is possible. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure to give it a huge thumbs up. Comment down below, what are you planning on reading in the month of August? What are you most excited for? Make sure you are subscribed and hit the notification bell so you're notified every time I upload a new video. Make sure to check me out on all of my social media, my blog, and my Goodreads profile, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.
I ain't living for the moment. I see what's mine and I want it. Hungry like a Pac-Man. I'm Bruce Wayne and Batman. I'm Naruto with a Hanzo. Got a sharp mind like I'm Einstein. Plus I'm copywriting, so it's all mine. Check it for me, I'm in the sky.